Speech in the style of a wise, soft-spoken Islamic scholar, reflective, heartfelt, grounded in Qur'an and Sunnah, without name mention. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. My beloved brothers and sisters, when we speak about giving, about charity, about helping others, we must begin with a simple yet profound reminder: we do not give because others need it. We give because we need it. Charity, whether it is a coin in the hand of the needy or a kind word spoken to lift someone's heart, is a path that leads to Allah. But here's the question: should we give openly or should we give privately? Let us reflect. 1. It all begins with intention. The Prophet F. said, actions are judged by intentions. So before we talk about how to give, let us ask ourselves, why are we giving? Is it to be seen? Is it to be praised? Or is it to please Allah alone? If our intention is pure, then whether we give publicly or privately, it will be accepted, insha-Allah. But if the intention is corrupted, even a mountain of charity might weigh nothing in the scale of deeds on the day of judgment. 2. The beauty of hidden giving there is something incredibly beautiful in giving with a silent hand. The Quran praises those who give their charity in private and in public. And the Prophet FD told us about the one who will be shaded on the day of judgment, a man who gives charity and hides it so much that his left hand does not know what his right hand gave. Why hide it? Because hidden giving is often free from the disease of pride. No cameras, no applause. Just you and your Lord. Sometimes the person you help never even knows it was you, but Allah knows. And is that not enough? Written in the same warm, reflective, spiritually grounded tone, without an ending, as you requested. Intention behind giving Niyyah matters, my beloved brothers and sisters, before a hand is stretched out to give, before a coin drops into a box, before a meal is served to the hungry or a blank it is laid over the cold, something more important must take place. The heart must speak. The intention or niyyah must be purified. You see, in Islam we are taught that the value of a deed is not measured by how it looks to the people, but by how it weighs with Allah. The Prophet FD began one of the most foundational hadiths with this truth: indeed, actions are judged by intentions, and every person will have what they intended. Bukhari and Muslim, let us pause for a moment and reflect deeply on that. It means two people could give the exact same amount of money to the exact same cause on the exact same day, and yet one will be rewarded immensely while the other may receive nothing from Allah, except fatigue and praise. Why? Because one gave to please the Lord of the worlds, and the other gave to please the world. The heart, my brothers and sisters, is the engine of written in a soft, contemplative, spiritually grounded tone, flowing like a heartfelt lecture, and without an ending as requested. Private giving protects sincerity. Ikhlas Macron letter 1, E6, 3. My dear brothers and sisters, sincerity, or Ikhlas Macron letter 1, E6, 3, is the hidden jewel of worship. It is what transforms an ordinary deed into something extraordinary in the sight of Allah, and one of the most powerful ways to protect sincerity is through giving in private. When a person gives and hides it from the eyes of others, what they are really doing is shielding their heart from corruption. They are safeguarding the intention from being stolen by praise, applause, or public recognition, because the heart, as pure as we want it to be, is delicate. It can be swayed, it can be deceived. You may begin with a good intention. You want to give for the sake of Allah. But as soon as someone compliments you, MashaAllah, you're so generous. You donated how much? You're such an inspiration. A subtle whisper enters. The ego swells just a little. The soul starts to enjoy the attention. And if we're not careful, that same deed which was supposed to draw us closer to Allah can become the very thing that pulls us further away. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, praises those who conceal their charity, not to diminish public giving, but to elevate the beauty of the unseen deed. He says in the Quran, if you give charity openly, it is good. But if you give it in secret and to the poor, it is better for you, and he will remove from you some of your misdeeds. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:271. Look at how Allah ties hidden charity with the forgiveness of sins. Sub-1E2 5 A Macron in Allah. It's as if he is telling us, when no one sees it but me, I will purify your soul with it. And the Prophet letter FDFA, who was the master of sincerity, told us of the 7 who will be shaded on the day of judgment, one of them being a man who gives charity and hides it so much that his left hand does not know what his right hand has given. Bukhari and Muslim, what kind of giving is this? A level where not only the people are unaware, but even the self is detached. The hand gives, the heart submits, and the soul moves on without expecting recognition from anyone, not even a thank you. Because the reward isn't sought in this world, it's stored with the most generous Al-Karim. Private giving humbles the giver. It reminds them, you are not here to be seen, you are here to serve. You are not the source of provision. You are just a channel Allah is using to deliver His mercy to another. And sometimes, the person you help may never even know where the support came from. Maybe they wake up and find their debt paid off. Maybe a bag of groceries appears at their door. Maybe a scholarship is offered without names attached. And all they can do is raise their hands to the sky and say, Ya Allah, whoever helped me, bless them, forgive them, grant them Jannah. And those sincere prayers from the heart of the oppressed or the poor are more powerful than 1,000 public praises. You don't need to be tagged in a post or thanked in a speech. You only need your name to be known by the angels, recorded in the book of righteous deeds. Private giving allows you to give without ego. It allows you to give without strings. It is freedom, freedom from needing validation, freedom from caring about likes or views or followers. And in a world where even charity is sometimes turned into content, where acts of kindness are sometimes performed with a camera in hand, it becomes even more important to ask, am I giving for them? Or am I giving for Him? Because giving privately, in silence, in the quiet of the night, in a moment where no one but Allah sees, that's when sincerity breathes. That's when your charity stops being a transaction and becomes a conversation with your Lord. And the one who gives in secret is not looking for their name to be remembered. They are looking for their sin to be erased. They are looking for their Jannah to be built. They are hoping for that moment on the day of judgment when the world is burning with heat and panic, and they are among those shaded not because they were known by people, but because they were known by Allah. Written in the same Mufti Menk style tone, warm, wise, spiritually focused, with no ending as you requested, open giving can encourage others, my beloved brothers and sisters, in the path of charity. We often hear about giving quietly, giving secretly, giving in a way that only Allah knows. And yes, that is a deeply honorable and highly rewarded path, but we must also recognize that there is another form of giving, one that has its own wisdom and merit, open giving. Giving in public, when done with sincerity and humility, can be a powerful form of dawah. It can awaken generosity in others. It can stir a sleeping heart. It can plant a seed in someone who had never thought of giving, but seeing your action, they too begin to give. Allah says in the Qur'an, if you disclose your charitable expenditures, they are good, but if you conceal them and give them to the poor, it is better for you. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:171. Notice that Allah does not condemn open giving. He calls it good, because sometimes when charity is seen, it inspires. It breaks the chains of stinginess in others. It creates an environment where giving becomes normal, where generosity becomes a shared value of the community, where wealth is not hoarded, but circulated in a way that uplifts the poor and honors the rich by purifying their wealth. We must remember, many of the Sahabah, may Allah be pleased with them, gave openly, and their names were recorded not just in history, but in the Qur'an itself. Take the example of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq Ra. When the Prophet Fa called the believers to donate for the cause of Islam, he came forward and gave everything he owned. Umar ibn al-Khattab Ra came with half of his wealth, thinking, "Today I will beat Abu Bakr." But when he saw what his brother had done, he realized again that he could never surpass him. Now pause and reflect on this moment. The giving was public, the amounts were known, the sacrifice was seen. Yet the Prophet Fa did not discourage them from giving openly. In fact, he praised them, because it was a moment of motivation for the entire Ummah. It was leadership by example, and sometimes leadership requires visibility. When a father gives openly in front of his children, he is teaching them without saying a word that wealth is not the goal, but a means to please Allah. When a community leader donates and others follow, he may not realize that Allah has used him as a catalyst for a wave of good that ripples far beyond what he gave. There are people who hesitate to give not because they don't want to, but because they feel alone, they feel embarrassed. They think my small donation won't matter, but when they see someone else giving, even a small amount, it unlocks their confidence. It gives them the push they need to act. This is one of the reasons why, in Islam, public fundraising is not only permitted but practiced. The Prophet Fa would raise funds in the masjid in front of the companions. He would call on individuals by name to step forward. He once praised Uthman ibn Affan Ra in front of everyone for equipping an entire army. He didn't say, "Hide it." He said, "Nothing Uthman does after this will harm him." It was public and it was praised. Not because of the amount, but because of the sincerity, and because others saw it and were motivated to give more. But here's the balance. The intention must remain protected. The moment the focus shifts from inspiring others to impressing them, the reward begins to fade. This is where the line must be drawn. The heart must be closely guarded, and accountability must be constant. Yet, if the heart is in the right place, and the goal is to ignite generosity in a world increasingly defined by materialism, then public giving can be a means of reviving the sunnah of sacrifice. It can break through selfishness and awaken empathy. It can turn spectators into participants and turn one act of charity into 1,000. Public giving can make others realize that they too can make a difference, that they don't need to wait until they are millionaires to give. They just need to start, and sometimes all it takes is for them to see someone else doing it. And so, the giver who gives publicly with the correct intention is not just giving wealth. They are giving a message that says, you can do this too, you don't have to wait, you don't have to be wealthy, just willing. And in that moment, the act of giving becomes not only a form of charity, but a form of leadership, a call to action, a silent sermon, written in a calm, heartfelt, spiritually aware style like a khutbah or reflective lecture, and without an ending as you requested. Balancing both approaches, my dear brothers and sisters, one of the great beauties of our din is its balance. Islam does not lock us into rigid forms. It does not demand that we always choose one extreme over the other. Rather, it gives us the wisdom to choose what is best for our situation, and this applies even in the matter of giving. Some ask, should I always give in private? Others ask, is it better to give in public so people are inspired? But the deeper question, the more mature approach, is to understand when to give openly and when to give privately, and to do so with full awareness of your intention. Allah, in His divine guidance, has made space for both. He says, those who spend their wealth by night and by day, in secret and in public, they will have their reward with their Lord. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:174. This verse does not favor one over the other. It praises the variety in their giving, night and day, hidden and open. Why? Because every situation demands wisdom. Every circumstance carries a different opportunity, and the believer must be conscious and intentional in how they respond. There are times when private giving is better, when the ego is lurking, when the self craves to be seen. When there's a danger of showing off, when the recipient may feel humiliated or embarrassed by public exposure. In those moments, the best charity is the one that flows silently, unnoticed, only recorded by the angels, and known by the one who never forgets. But then, there are times when giving publicly brings out tremendous benefit, when a campaign needs momentum, when a masjid is being built and the community is hesitating, when people are holding back, unsure if their small donation matters, and then someone stands up and gives, not out of arrogance, but to say, "Let me be the first." That courage to give openly can open the floodgates of generosity in others, and that's not pride, that's wisdom. And so, the balanced believer learns to read the moment. They ask themselves, what is my intention right now? Am I safe from Riyaa showing off? Will this help someone else to give, or will it harm my own sincerity? Is this the kind of situation that calls for public inspiration or quiet humility? It's not always about one being better than the other. It's about knowing yourself, checking your heart, and choosing what is most pleasing to Allah in that moment. The companions of the Prophet letter, FDFA, were masters at this balance. Sometimes they gave in secret, leaving bags of flour at people's doors without revealing their names. And sometimes they gave in public, pledging gold, camels, armor, so that others would be motivated to support the mission of Islam. Even the Prophet letter FDFA himself, when he was raising support for causes like the Battle of Tabuk, did so in the presence of his companions. He asked them openly. They responded openly, not for fame, but for the sake of igniting courage in the hearts of others. And what a lesson that is! That sincerity is not only found in the silence of hidden giving, it can also be present in the noise of public fundraising, as long as the heart remains anchored in humility. But this balance is not automatic. It requires training the soul, it requires vigilance. Because the ego is clever, it can disguise pride as generosity. It can make us believe we are inspiring others, when in fact we are feeding our own need for recognition. That's why the scholars of the heart, the people of taqwa, constantly checked their intentions before, during, and after every act of charity. They would ask themselves 3 questions: why am I doing this? For whom am I doing this? And what would I do if no one ever thanked me for it? That kind of inner accounting, muhasabah, is what helps a believer balance between public and private giving. Not out of confusion, but out of wisdom. Not out of fear, but out of a deep desire to please Allah in the best possible way. Would you like me to continue with the next keynote, avoiding the trap of showing off Riyaa, in this same tone and length? Written in the same introspective, balanced, and spiritually grounded tone with no ending, as requested. Avoiding the trap of showing off Riyaa, my beloved brothers and sisters, there is a disease that can silently eat away at the reward of our deeds, a disease so subtle that even the most outwardly righteous person can fall into it without realizing. It's not a sin of the tongue, nor of the hand, it is a sin of the heart. It is known as Riyaa, showing off in acts of worship, or doing good so that people may praise you, admire you, or recognize you. Riyaa doesn't destroy the act itself in the eyes of the people. In fact, it may make it look even more impressive, but in the eyes of Allah, it strips away the reward until what remains is nothing but an empty gesture. And what a loss that is! To strive, to give, to serve, to sacrifice, but to find on the day of judgment that those deeds carried no weight because they were not done for him. The Prophet FDFA warned us of this danger with deep seriousness. He said, "The thing I fear most for you is the minor shirk, Riyaa. On the day of judgment, Allah will say to those who practiced it, go to those for whom you used to show off in the world. See if they can reward you today." Ahmad, imagine standing before Allah, hoping for reward, but being told, "You didn't do it for me, you did it for them, so go to them for your reward." But who can reward us the way Allah can? Who can give us eternal Jannah in exchange for a single sincere act? No one, And yet the heart can be deceived into seeking the fleeting praise of people, likes, claps, comments, admiration, instead of the lasting reward of the Creator. Riyaa takes many forms. Sometimes it creeps into our voice when we raise it in da only when others are listening. Sometimes it shows in our charity when we give more if people are watching, but give less or not at all when we are alone. Sometimes it hides in our words when we mention the good we've done, hoping someone will say, "MashaAllah, you're such a generous soul." The danger of Riyaa is not only in the major acts. It can enter even the smallest deeds, smiling, praying sunnah, helping someone across the street. Even these can become infected if our hearts are not guarded. But how do we protect ourselves? First, we must constantly renew our intention, not just before the deed, but during and even after. Before we give, we ask, "Am I doing this for Allah?" While giving, we pause and check, "Is my heart still in the right place?" And after giving, we reflect, "Did I seek praise, or did I seek His pleasure?" The scholars of the past used to say, perhaps a small deed is made great by the intention behind it, and perhaps a great deed is made worthless because of the intention behind it. It's not about how much you gave, it's about why you gave it. Second, we must learn to hide our good deeds the way we hide our sins. Just as we are embarrassed for people to know our faults, we should be shy to display our righteous actions unless there is a clear benefit. One of the early scholars said, "I have seen people who would hide their charity so secretly, if their own right hand gave something, their left hand would not know." Such was their concern for sincerity. Such was their fear of falling into Riyaa. Third, we must remember that people's praise does not bring us closer to Jannah. In fact, it can become a test. The more people praise you, the more your soul craves it. And the more your soul craves it, the more you shape your actions to please them, not Allah. This is the danger, that the line between ibadah worship and performance becomes blurred. This is why the righteous of the past would weep when praised, not out of false humility, but out of fear that they were being praised for something they weren't truly sincere about. One of them said, "I fear that Allah has exposed the good I have done in this world and hidden the bad, and on the day of judgment it may be the opposite." This isn't about avoiding all public deeds. This isn't about retreating into isolation. No, it's about doing what needs to be done, but for the right reason. It's about training the heart to seek the one who sees us when we are alone, who hears our whispers, who watches our silent charity, who records our hidden tears, and who rewards not based on public applause, but on private sincerity. And we must also be careful after the deed is done, that we don't go around mentioning it, expecting gratitude, or trying to remind others of what we gave. Allah says, "O you who believe, do not invalidate your charities by reminders or injury." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:264. Sometimes the need to be seen can come not before, but after the deed. We want credit, we want acknowledgement, but the believer who is sincere gives and forgets. They seek nothing from the people, not even thanks, because they know that Allah is not forgetful. So we walk the path of good with our hearts focused not on who's watching us, but on who we are walking toward. And every time the thought of praise crosses the mind, we remind ourselves, the best reward is not in this world. The best reward is with Allah. My beloved brothers and sisters, we live in a world where nearly everything we do is evaluated, measured, praised, or judged by people. You do something kind, and someone says, "Thank you." You donate, and someone puts your name on a banner. You help, and someone posts about it, and while appreciation is not haram, and gratitude is encouraged, the moment we start needing it, we lose sight of the real prize. As believers, we don't give for applause. We don't serve to be celebrated. We don't stand in front of people to be seen by them. We do what we do seeking one thing alone, the pleasure and reward of Allah, because the truth is people forget. They move on. Sometimes they praise you today and criticize you tomorrow. Sometimes they overlook your effort, no matter how sincere. Sometimes you give and no one says a word, no recognition, no thank you, no moment of fame, and the heart whispers, was it worth it? But that's when we remind ourselves, Allah never forgets. Not a single atom's weight of good goes unnoticed by Him. Not a tear shed in secret, not a coin dropped in charity. Not a moment of restraint when you wanted to be seen but held yourself back. Not a single action, however small, if it was done for Him, is ever lost. He says, indeed, we do not let the reward of anyone who does a good deed go to waste. Surah Al-Kahf 18:30, and in another verse, and whatever you spend of anything in His cause, He will replace it, and He is the best of providers. Surah Sahabah 34:39, SUB letter 1, E2, 5, A Macron and Allah. Not only does He record what you give, but He replaces it, and what He gives in return is far beyond what the world can ever offer. There are people who give quietly, who help behind the scenes, who feed the hungry, support the orphans, build masajid, sponsor students, cover medical bills, and nobody knows. No interviews, no articles, no awards, and yet in the unseen registers of the heavens their names are written in ink that never fades. The angels have recorded it. Allah has witnessed it, and His reward is coming, if not now, then in the moment we need it most. Because Allah is Ash-Shakir, the most appreciative, even if the world overlooks your effort, Allah multiplies it. Even if no one sees your kindness, Allah magnifies it. Even if people don't recognize your sincerity, Allah rewards it in ways that will leave you speechless. Sometimes you won't see the result of your giving in this life. Maybe your charity prevents a calamity you never knew was coming. Maybe it brings barakah into your health, your children, your time. Maybe it saves you from a sin, or earns you a dove from an angel, or prepares a shade for you on the day of judgment, when there is no shade but His. And if not in this world, then in the next, the real life, the eternal one, on that day, you will be shown your deeds. And among them, you may find an act of charity you forgot about, a meal you gave without thinking twice, a debt you forgave, a donation made in secret, a hand extended to someone in distress. You may not even remember it. But Allah remembered, and His reward is not a medal or a certificate, it is mercy, it is forgiveness. It is Jannah. The Prophet F.D.A. told us of a woman who gave water to a thirsty dog, and Allah forgave her. Just water to an animal, done with sincerity, and it became her path to paradise. If that is the reward for a single moment of compassion, what then of years of service? What then of wealth given purely for His sake? What then of the struggle to stay sincere in a world obsessed with recognition? So we don't look at the faces watching us, we look toward the heavens, we don't wait for likes, we wait for His mercy. We don't give to be remembered by people, we give so that our names are remembered by Allah, written among those who gave for Him alone. And when that reward comes on the day when the earth is flattened, the scrolls are opened, the deeds are weighed, the one who gave sincerely will not regret a single act of charity. Not one, because Allah's promise is true, His reward is guaranteed, and His appreciation is greater than any reward this world can offer.